All right, everyone, how are you? Welcome to this week's episode of our podcast. It's called Is Breakfast Included? Thanks for stopping by. On the show this week, I have a good conversation with my good friend and fellow guitar tech, Chet Haun. Chet and I discuss him growing up in Muncie, Indiana. That's right, Muncie, Indiana. Early days of web designing, meeting John Five, becoming his webmaster along with other guys, and eventually becoming John's guitar tech. We talk about all that, uh, getting a phone call from Eddie Van Halen, just a bunch of good stories and what he's doing now. I had a lot of fun catching up with my old friend. Let's check it out. Tell
Um,
everyone who you are.
well, my name's Chet Haun, and I'm a guitar tech in the music industry. I take care of various guitar players over the years.
Right on,
Yep.
man. And you and I met several years ago. It's funny. I think we talked about this in the previous time. You and I met via Messenger because I was working with Kevin, and Kevin had told me about you from the
Yeah. Now
Pink
you're going
days.
to jog my memory for the umpteenth time about this, and
Yeah,
I'm
he
I'm
said.
curious. I'm curious. I'm scooting in because I'm curious
Yeah, he said
on
you
the
should
memories.
you should meet Chet, the tech on Pink,
Yeah.
and I think you guys would get along. And I just messaged you like a
Kevin,
like a
yeah,
psycho.
Kevin broke his finger on that tour, and every time I see him, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But
What?
yeah, and then
Yeah.
we just started keeping in touch, and then we met, and dude, we've been friends ever since.
Cool. Yeah. And generally whenever I get a chance to get to come out and actually physically see you at a show or whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to do that, right?
It's
Like,
insane, but especially recently when I've been speaking with other guitar techs and other people in the industry, it's like people, you know people's names, but like I'd never worked with Mark. I'm going to say Mark Newman because Mark Newman's a good friend,
yeah,
and I worked with him for the past year. And it's like I've never worked with Mark because he does those gigs and he worked with that artist for a long time. And you're not unless you're on that tour, maybe you're doing something. I mean, suddenly I got to work, had the pleasure of working with him for the last year, and you know, doing guitar tech geeky things all the time. So it's
I know,
that,
right?
yeah,
And that happened to me. And I think you were one of the first people I sent a text to when the U2 gig was offered to me full time, like, and I knew who Dallas was. I knew who Dallas
yeah,
Q was, but he did those gigs,
yeah, man.
and
It's
and to sit there and you learn so much by just talking to someone
yeah,
like of that,
totally. And it's like that's how I got. I mean, that's just how what we do.
yeah,
It's like
man.
either you hook up with you meet the people and you just have those connections where you share life and yeah, and
Yeah, yeah,
whatever comes and yeah.
yeah. Where are you from originally, Chet?
Originally from Indiana. Um, I grew up in just outside of Muncie, Indiana, home of Ball State University. And just outside of that is a little town called Selma, Indiana. And just outside of that, about 10 miles outside of that, in the middle of cornfield, is where I grew up.
Right.
So it was a Wapahani High School is the name of the high school, and it was when I graduated in 1987. There were about 400 kids in the school. I think there were like 90 something kids in my class or whatever. So it was a small growing up, cornfield. You knew everybody and
Yeah,
played little league baseball, and that's what you did. So
yeah.
yeah,
So by any means, you're a country boy.
totally. Totally. Yeah. I mean, I worked on an orchard. I worked in which I think he still has it. My first job that I ever had was I picked pumpkins, miniature pumpkins and apples on my future art teacher, because I was working like when I was 12, 13 years old, was
Hmm.
picking pumpkins on his orchard that was about a mile down from uh, my parents' house. And so, yeah, and then that went to doing different jobs and what, yeah, country
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah. Same. I grew up in a small town. It's still small, but it's a little bigger than where you grew up. Just a little
Yeah.
bit bigger.
That place is months where I work. and I flipped burgers and growing up and all that stuff. But where I worked, that place has definitely changed. Muncie, Indiana is definitely what Muncie, Indiana is known for. Is that's where Bob Ross is from,
Hmm.
and I'm way jealous because now they have a museum there, and an actual museum's you can go in there where he actually paints, and where he painted all those years, and see all
Oh,
that cool stuff. And but yeah, that just is Muncie's definitely bigger and changed now. Better, I don't know. I don't visit too often, so
yeah, same, same.
yeah. But
Um,
that's originally where I'm from, and then just life has took me south. About when I became a got into the world of being a guitar tech about 20 years ago. A different life than what I have now. I lived just outside of New Orleans. Moved there around 2006, right after Katrina, and lived
okay.
life down there for about 10 years. And now I live in just outside of a little town called Poplarville, Mississippi, in Mississippi. So
Yeah. So you
yeah,
like small towns?
I love it. I've
Yeah.
lived in Henderson, Nevada before for a year. Lived in LA for about 3 months. I've in Burbank, and I lived at the Oakwood Apartments for 3 months. I no, man. It's
Yeah.
like
No.
that concrete kind of work. It's weird because when, like next week, I'll be in, what I do for a living is usually what we do for a living is almost a complete 180, I would think. But I really shut that world off when I'm home.
Yeah.
It's like I don't like big city bustle and tons of people. I'm a really, not a private person, but, I've got my there's a pond out there, and I'm sure my dogs are cool somewhere on my property. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I like my quiet.
Well, I think that's what we do, man. It's cool to visit these spots, but it's we kind
No,
of
yeah,
yeah. I just kind of
yeah, totally,
wherever I live, I try and make it as homey as possible. But
totally.
yeah,
Yeah, where I live now is basically how I grew up, out in the middle of nowhere, really quiet and whatnot. I did the
I know.
city life. I don't like city life. I like the
So
country.
you've been teching 2005, 2004 around that time, or 2000,
2005 was my
2005,
first go at it. Absolutely.
and that was Who is Who.
That was with John Five, and that was just like what I'm doing now, just trying to shifting gears. That was just a major career change. I was living a world of in Indiana. You want me to tell that story?
Yeah,
Might as well. Uh, I was doing John's website. In around 1996, I got really interested in the internet, 95, 96, and uh, and I really dove into it. I got like a big desktop HP from H Gray, some payment plan or whatever it was back then. But then I remember buying these big books and looking up how to make just colors. Okay, 0000 FF equals this color, and you can put that image there and whatever. And so I still have my same AOL address as I did back then.
yeah, I've
It's
noticed.
it's the exact same because Zach Wild I met on AOL around 96
Yeah,
because he would have a chat room, him and Barbara Ann, and you can ask Freddie Koala, you can ask anybody this stuff. Uh, yeah, when right after Book of Shadows and during that time, Zach would have a chat room where like 7 people would show up.
yeah,
Nobody knew anything about AOL or stuff. And then one of the first people, because I was really into I played in bands. I'm a guitar player. So I played in cover bands in Indiana, but during the day I was flipping burgers at Rally's Hamburgers. But at night I was being a hot shot guitar player and sometimes in bands around or whatever. But I really wanted to break out of that. And I just so happened when I was doing these websites, I was able to connect with people, like real live people. I consider myself an artist first and foremost. I love to draw, I love to paint and stuff. And in the 80s when I was in high school, I drew some pictures of George Lynch and Steve Vai and David Lee Roth and all this stuff. And it just so happens the photographer that I drew the pictures of was Neil Zlozauer.
yeah.
And Zlo, go back all this up. And I reached out to him and I was like, and I was just trying to learn my stuff. And I saw he had a website. This website didn't look the best to me. You got to remember this is 97, 98 or something like that. And I was like, hey, I'm nobody and I love your work. Can I do your website? And he said, sure. So all of a sudden I'm talking to Niels Lozauer. And if you know anything about Niels Lozauer, I mean, it's just a guy as
Yeah.
far as rock photographers, and what he's done in over time. So he introduced me to people and I just got to doing websites during that time. So I was doing Zach Wild's website. I was doing Neil's website. I was doing just a few others. And then I got approached to do John Five's website around 2002. During that time was a weird transition for him from Marilyn Manson to his solo career and
Yeah.
before Rob Zombie. And so I met him at a what am I doing next period? you know? And I'm just opening this door of internet stuff at night after I'm playing in bands, after I'm flipping burgers, and living in Indiana and not being thrilled was really Indiana.
Was it paying okay? The websites?
No, dude, come on. No, I was doing much of it for free just because
You wanted to
having,
learn. You wanted to.
oh God, yeah, man,
Yeah.
having 12 websites and not be able to, I'll get you to do graphics. I'm sorry. I'll do this. I'm sorry. But just being able to learn
Yeah.
and connect was what mattered to me. You know what I mean? And then, and just figuring out things from there. But the connection I made with John, am I rambling too much?
No, 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 no. Because we have a connection here about with during the John time.
Oh,
I'll I'll,
totally, man.
I'll get
And
to it
and
in
there's
just
some stuff I'd love to talk about. And talking about John isn't talking about John because he like during the time period that I knew him, he had a band called Loser, and they had
yeah.
some music just blew my mind, and it's music that will never really be heard ever.
His singer was from Dallas.
Joe Graw, I know
Joe
Jaw.
Graw, such a
I
great
did
singer.
shows with him and Charlie and those guys. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So John, I met John just via telephone, and he left Marilyn Manson, and I think I'm the one that let him know that Manson he was no longer a Manson band because one day they were on tour. This
Uh
is
huh.
like 2002 or something like that, and Manson was things were going on in that world, and I happened to see a post on the website and it said they were parted ways. And I called John. It's like, he goes, I think he ripped, he's like, I don't think I'm in the band anymore. And look what he's done and my
Yeah.
God, who he is and stuff. He always makes the best decisions. So I started doing his website and I just wasn't happy in Indiana and he knew I played guitar and wanted to get out of Indiana. In March of 2004, he went to play a Tsunami benefit gig, and at the gig was Rob Zombie, Dave Navarro, and I'm going to forget people, and Sharon Osbourne was there, and John Rob jammed together, and they played Thunder Kiss 65 and some I don't you definitely look it up. Um, After that show that night, as I was told, um, Bob Sharon asked Rob if he wanted to play Ozfest that year. Rob said that I don't have a band. He turned to John and said, "Do you want to be my guitar player and we'll figure out a band?" John was like, "Hell yeah, let's," kind of thing. And then they had Blasco, is who
Yeah.
the bass player was, and then they got Tommy Cofletos, and Tommy had just left Ted Nugent at that time. So I remember helping Tommy roll his Ted Nugent cases into a place called Bill's Place over in Burbank, uh, where the very first person I ever met in the music industry. But anyway, they played the Tsunami benefit show. Um,
Hold on, real quick, real quick. You froze. Who was the very first person you met in the music industry? You froze when
Ice
you.
T and Coco, and he
Oh,
pulled up in a fucking his convertible and down this alley, and I'm just walking carrying a guitar, and here I turn around and it's Ice T and Coco.
right on.
If you know them both, yes, of course. And they were rehearsing at this place, and still to this day, Ice Body Count. His bass player is Vinny,
Yeah.
and Vinny took care of the rehearsal place there. And there were Puddle Mud rehearsed there, White Zombie rehearsed there. I don't even know if that place is still there, but that's where we did rehearsals, early rehearsals when John first got the gig with Rob Zombie. We went in for about 3 weeks. It was just Blasco, Tommy. I'm jumping ahead again.
That's fine. That's fine.
No, but it says John accepted the gig, and the next morning he called me early. And mind you, he's in LA and I'm in Indiana, and it was like 9 in the morning. I'm like, he's not out of bed until after 12, And it's like, hey, I just played this show. He goes, do you want to quit what you're doing and come to California and try to be a guitar tech? Because I don't, because he just didn't, he wasn't in that fold of having
Yeah.
anybody. He was recording, doing a solo. He just released a solo record, his first solo record. I'm jogging my own memory, but I said yes, and I figured it out. And I was working for, even still to this day, a really popular internet web company that sells music gear, and I
Okay.
helped start, and it's still a functioning big time web company out of Muncie, Indiana, and you can look it up.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I said yes, and I got all my ducks in a row. And by June of 2005, I moved and left everything I knew and built. My dad and myself built John a couple of pedal boards, little square pedal boards with handles. And I flew to California, and I slept on a couch for about a month. And in July, we went on Ozfest and went from there.
Uh-huh.
That's the long of it. Sorry.
Yeah. No. No. Well, it's funny because I I'm a big fan of John Five. Like
Yeah.
and like you said, I don't think the guy makes a bad decision. I was stoked when he got when he joined Motley Crue. I saw his first show with Motley Crue in Atlantic City, and I'm just thinking, man,
That just makes sense.
I
My
used to
God.
message him his website, and somebody would message me back, and I think it was you.
It probably was.
Because I used to message him, "Does John have a guitar tech?" And the last
Okay.
time
Was it
that's the
was it
last thing
fuck
I had,
off?
and you replied with, "Yeah, me."
Fuck zing. It was me. No,
Yeah.
no. Now and I couldn't keep up with that. And eventually like some websites are no more. Like if I tried to do a website today, I would look ridiculous.
Mm.
It's like, oh my God. Like technology. I stopped teaching myself that world right around when like C++ was happening, and believe it or not, when Flash Macromedia was new, that's when
Uh-huh.
I was like signing off. Like, so I was in the internet world for about 5 years going code, 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 making things kind of happen, and then switch careers.
Yeah.
so, so I don't know.
And what was it like, man, going on your first tour? Like being from Muncie,
Amazing.
Indiana. Like, like, was it overwhelming to you? Had you ever left your hometown?
No, no. I went to NAM twice, like 2 years in a row because of the company that I worked for,
Yeah.
the music company. But we went there as buyers.
Yeah.
And so you did it, we were there for other reasons. And but no, other than that, I'd never been on flights and never did any of it, lived in hotels, lived a certain way for, my God. And no, never. I was trying to think. No, never. Mm-mm. It was a complete change, but it's something like to look back, and as I remember, your memory is a certain way, so you remember those moments. You get this burst of what it was 2005, like boom, boom.
Yeah.
I don't have a bad moment. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? There's like, oh God, that sucked because of that.
Yeah.
Or what Katrina happened. That's how I kind of ended up with, down that south. It was because of the ways of the world, the actual physical world shifted, and it shifted my world. Believe it or
Mm.
not.
Yeah.
I was on
Yeah.
tour. We were in Houston. I said yes when I moved to California. We got the band together and we headed out. And while we were on tour, we were in Houston, and Katrina was getting ready to happen. So we diverted and went to Tennessee, and Katrina had happened like the next day while we were on Ozfest.
Yeah.
And then everything was just like whatever with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we figured it out. We were supposed to actually played, Rob Zombie was supposed to have actually played the House of Blues in New Orleans. Shit you not. That night. Katrina
Wow.
hit. Shit you not. I just these memories are popping back. I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah. Like if we'd been down there a bit, fucked, totally
Yeah,
fucked. But we ended up going to Tennessee that day. I'm sure we a lot in it. If I mentioned tour managers' names, you probably know the same people or the same crew. You know, it's like, yeah,
yeah,
we all hightailed it and sat for about 2 days in a hotel parking lot and lived out of a bus and tried to figure out where we were supposed to go next. And
yeah.
yeah,
How to
yeah,
get
there's
there?
a curveball of tour life.
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
What?
yeah. It's crazy. I think what you just said, it really struck a chord with me. Like, you haven't had a bad time since, and there probably have been bad times, but
Oh
you look
yeah.
at the big picture. I like you, I got in it late. Well, I got in it pretty late, but um I I don't complain about being on the road. Like, I don't. There's so many more jobs you can do that you would just absolutely, but what we get to do is really, I always say it's a privilege. And then
You
I
know
come
what?
home
I
and
thought
I
about
just, when I'm home, I'm home. There's no.
right, right. Road is just an interesting world of adjustment for us from time to time because, like myself, lives the country life, lives quiet, quiet, quiet. Okay, you go if you live in okay, for example, if you go stay at the La Park, all of a sudden you're surrounded by Waymos.
Yeah.
Where in the fuck is a Waymo in Poplarville, Mississippi?
Right.
It just, it's like this just different. You've got to adjust everything
Yeah.
from tour life is everything from that to you got to make friends with the front desk person if you're there for a week. You gotta you got to make sure to take your salt and pepper shaker in your luggage because it may not be in that DoorDash that you requested.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's an adjustment, but after 21 years, you
Yeah.
know, it's like that was in June of 2005 when I jumped into that, uh, and this is 21st year going into it. Yeah, it's like
Yeah. I remember
it's my
my first
blood.
time at La
What I
Park.
do. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I remember my first time at La Park thinking, this is like an apartment.
I love it there, dude. The La Park, and there's a sister hotel right there. Um, that is exactly like La Park, and I hadn't stayed there before. It's like a half a mile away. It's walking distance between. Do you know what I'm talking about? Same
No,
layout,
I
fireplace.
haven't stayed at La
I can just
Park
say
in,
fireplace.
yeah,
The
I
fireplace.
haven't stayed there in years. Like, I didn't even know they
Oh,
still
really?
put crews there. Uh,
I was just there. That's a frequent stop. That was a frequent stop over the last year on
yeah,
tour.
yeah,
Yeah, which is cool. I hadn't visited there. Being at that place is part of the story of one of the artists I work for along the way. But yeah. Anyway, when
yeah.
did you get into it? What was the first thing
Man,
kick off?
my first gig was 2007, and I was a runner on a
It
gig.
wasn't John Five.
It was not John Five. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, no.
And speaking of, John Five lives directly across the street from a good friend of mine.
Right
Very good
now.
friend. I went to visit him. Yeah, I went to
Oh,
visit my
right on,
friend,
right
and
on.
he's like, "Yeah, John lives over there." I'm like, "Let's walk down the street, see if he comes out,"
Yeah, right on.
because I'm still a huge fan of his, man. Like, the guy
He's a
does,
great guy. Yeah,
yeah,
he really
and
is.
he does things on guitar that are just,
This is the Praise John Five podcast.
yeah, it is. Yeah, maybe he'll listen.
Maybe.
Maybe he'll listen. So no, 2007, I started in country music, which at the time, country artists do weekend warrior stuff.
Yeah.
And that worked really well because I had a
Yeah.
son, and
I'd always
so I,
heard about it.
huh?
I'd always heard about the schedule and
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and it was good, for what I jumped on a bus. I was never in a van or anything. I immediately got on a bus, and the artist I worked for was a very he was he had he was a big name out of Texas, a guy named Pat Green, and man, he just I always tell I've been fortunate enough to tell him uh that he changed my life. I had worked every crappy job you could possibly work except for
Yeah,
food
yeah,
service,
yeah.
and like, he changed my life. I knew right then, like, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I played guitar, but I never thought I was good enough to play guitar.
Yeah.
But this gave me an opportunity to still be part of it and be around it and work on guitars and play guitars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've never been that. There's a lot of techs out there that use what we do, trying to use it as a platform to be in a band or be in the band that
Oh
they're
my
working
God.
for, you
Yeah.
know. And
Man, the conversations, the amount of subjects that and I'm sure you do this with all the people that you interview that are in our world. Of It's like the conversations we could motherfucking have. It's
dude,
like, oh my God.
I
This
know,
is
right?
that, let alone anything else. That would
Yeah,
be just so mind baffling to people
exactly,
that
right?
we have to deal with.
Yeah, no. And a lot of it we can't talk about publicly.
Nah, man.
No, but I'm with you. Like when I was recently at NAM and I hooked up with a couple of friends.
I haven't
Uh,
been in years, man.
you
Since
know,
2004 was my last name.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
So
long time.
I've been my first one was 2007, the year I started doing this. But I just hung out with a couple of tech friends that I never see, but they were there. We spent the day together hanging out. And the things we were talking about, the names that were coming up, and they were like, "Oh, that guy's great." And then you bring up this guy, that guy's an asshole. You know? But yeah, the things that
Yeah.
we could just we could
Yeah.
go topic to topic and just have stories. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, what was the most surprising thing about being a guitar tech when you first started? Like I didn't know the gig really. Like any ignorant person, I thought all they did was tune guitars. But what was the most surprising thing for you?
I I didn't know this was a real gig, like like a real job. Meaning. Of course, I knew about Zeke Clark. Of course, I knew about these people that took care of legends before I was ever. And I say Zeke. I could say all Dallas Shoe people names I have heard before I was ever a guitar tech
Yeah,
or even had the thought of being it. So you knew they worked for the artist, but I always assumed there weren't specific roles of just touring, that it had to be all encompassing. So you had to live there.
yeah,
You had to live in LA. And we could definitely talk about that stuff, the living where the artists. That's why I lived in Henderson, Nevada for a year, because my early years with Five Finger Death Punch, they wanted me to live there.
yeah,
It's like they're all from there. We need a gopher. We need to work in the studio. Oh, at that time, they were doing the Got Your Six record, I think, or something.
yeah,
But so I was there doing some things, but then I wasn't necessarily needed there. My
yeah,
heart needed to be, again, there's woods back that way. There's
yeah,
a pond
yeah,
over there. If I'm not needed, just call me for the road or just call me for the tour and let me go live my life elsewhere.
yeah,
But I always assumed like yeah, that part of it. It's like you really got to be in a certain, you got to live in Nashville, you got to live in LA, you got to live somewhere else to really be called in and out from a remote area. I just dealt with that today
yeah,
introduced just today to a new travel agent with a new artist I'm working with and developing rapport. I'm such and such on this and put me in this aisle seat or window seat, and all that junk. And yeah,
Are you an aisle or a window seat?
window,
Um,
window and left side of the plane. I have hearing issues
so you could go only
during
go to the right?
Oh, on my left ear, a freak of nature happened, and I've actually went down. Oh, we could talk about this stuff. If there's any audiologists out there that give a shit,
Funny, it's my
which I've
left ear
never.
that's the good one.
Check this out. 2000 December 3rd, 2011. I went to take a friend to see Judas Priest at um, the Biloxi. Oh my God, Hard Rock in Biloxi. Just Judas Priest stood up front of house. You know those guys in that camp?
I know a couple.
I know the front of house guy, so I'm at front of house, right? So I'm in the barricade. It's just Judas Priest. They didn't have an opening band. Show starts, everything's cool. Mind you, I didn't have a hearing problem before the show. Show starts halfway through the show, this ear starts going garbled. I'm like, what the fuck? show ends because it's just them. They played like an hour and a half, 90 minutes, seven, whatever. But, they wear a while.
Yeah.
Get out of the barricade. I stumble, land on the floor, and I don't drink, smoke,
Yeah.
nothing. And I stumble, and what it turns out I had vertigo. Vertigo had happened. This year it got so garbled, but tinnitus ringing it took over. But I thought I just had that. I was like,
Yeah.
it'll go away, like it did at Motley Crue back in '85. I'm cool. And dude, it never went away. And to this day, I have horrible problems with it. And that uh, just dealing with certain things at certain times, I can hear, but my high end's a little funky and the low end's funky. So I have to adjust the way I do this and just the way I do that. So if I sit on the left side of the plane, it's like I can catch it, the
Yeah.
window, left
Yeah.
side of the plane. So it's like something happened that night. My eardrum got stuck. It caused vertigo, and I got sick. The next morning, there was no vertigo, but my tinnitus and it was like a gunshot had went off. That kind of muffled noise you get, and it's just kind of stayed like that, where you can hear, but it sounds like it's in a cup. And I've had audiologists look. There's nothing stuck in there. That's that kind of stuff. So that's been a learning curve since like that period till now of dealing with like that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine happened in 2016. My hearing's always been a little screwy
So
from,
something happened initially.
well, like you said, from going to concerts all my life and not even caring about your hearing protection. But
No.
2016, I went to see ACDC, and it's the loudest concert I've ever been to. And at my right ear, whatever was screwed up with it, screwed up permanent, and it's never been the same
Are
since.
you being serious?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't. I've asked my
Like
wife,
when I
ask the
like
audiologist.
if you and I ever hang out and we talk, you'll notice I always turn to my right so I can hear you out of my left. And people always, when I'm talking to them, they'll think,
Yeah,
"What are
yeah,
you
yeah,
doing?" I'm like, "I need to hear you." Like,
yeah, yeah. What an interesting thing, and that's been always been the thing since that time. What an interesting thing to be guitar tech, and I got to deal with this little bit of a hearing hiccup
yeah,
here.
yeah,
But all's cool. I can make things sound good.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's true, true that.
Yeah, yeah.
I,
So I jumped everywhere. I'm sorry.
no, 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 man. This is we could go for hours if I had you go everything.
Yeah.
When you and I talked one time, and you were telling me a story about I think you were on the road with a band Godsmack, and you got an interesting phone call while sitting at the Rainbow.
Well, and it has to do with the La Park.
Oh, does it?
That's the little park connection, man.
Oh, okay.
I was going. I was, and I have to back up a minute. The people that I met in the when I thought you had a guy on, we both know him, we both love him, and it's amazing because he's sitting. I believe he's still Nicky's Tech with Motley Crue, right?
Oh,
He's just,
Fred, yeah, yeah,
so Fred Koalo is one of the reasons. There are a few people, John Five, Adam Day, and Fred Koalo. Those three guys I owe. Come hang out at my house for a couple of days. Now get out of here. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. It's like I owe them so much. It's like they're just super. When I very first got the gig with John Five, I knew Fred because he was teching for Zach Wild at the time. And I
mhm,
said, Fred, I need tools. What do I need for the road? And he sent me back. I wish I had the email, but I don't. He sent me back the buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. And I went out and bought it. And so Fred was the guiding hand of getting cutters. Hey, make sure you get this kind of screwdriver and or whatever.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then yeah, it's so I got to go back and thank Mr. Fred Koalo for the early guidance and whatnot. He's still with them, right?
He's still with them. Yeah, I just saw
Yeah.
Fred a few months back
Cool.
when they were doing their Vegas residency. I had dinner with
I've ran into him over the years. Again, it's like we haven't toured together. He was with Megadeth. He was Megadeth a long time.
Yeah, yeah,
So
and did
yeah.
the TSO stuff for a long time.
Yep. 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 So what did I lose you? I'm sorry.
Oh, we were talking about your gig when you were with Godsmack and you got a phone call.
Godsmack. Wow. In 2006, I was on tour with Godsmack, and I'd only been a guitar tech. I started in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
I went from Rob Zombie to the road manager for Rob Zombie was also I believe he was the production manager for Ashley Simpson, believe it or not.
Uh-huh.
Rob Zombie, Ashley Simpson. And Ashley Simpson she was big at that time. She had just released a new record
Yeah.
that had singles on the radio. It wasn't the Saturday Night Live era thing that people ask about that. And I wasn't around for that. That was earlier, but she was big. And so he asked me during that tour, "Hey, you want to go do the Ashley Simpson tour?" And I agreed, and that was my next tour. Like almost right after the Ozfest was Ashley Simpson. Right after Ashley Simpson, I went right back to Rob Zombie because they were getting ready. God, if my memory serves me right, but during the Rob Zombie's next tour, the next year, we were opening for Godsmack. And I got to be good friends with the guitar techs for Godsmack. And one of the guitar techs for Godsmack was leaving and going back to another gig. And he asked me if I was interested. And I said yes. So then I went from Rob Zombie to Godsmack while on tour. So we're on tour and we had a day off in LA and I was staying at the La Park. And while on tour, I was working on a Van Halen 5150 relic guitar and on my days off, just something to do, you know. But you talk about being on life on tour, you get bored in hotel rooms.
Yeah.
So why not do something? And myself and the other guitar tech for Godsmack, a guy named Ian, and you know Ian Keith.
I don't know Ian Keith personally.
The
I know who he is.
Okay, yeah, Ian and our modern guy Rooster went to. We had the day off, so we were going to go to the Rainbow and have lunch. And we go to the Rainbow and sit down and get ready to order. And my phone rings with my little flip phone back then, and it was a guy named Matt, and he was Ed's assistant, Eddie Van Halen's assistant, and they had got my information, which only didn't have a resume. You know, they'd been working a year, but I knew Eddie Van Halen's guitar tech during that time. And just so happens, unbeknownst to me, they were putting the band back together.
Yeah.
And there was rumblings of it, but I didn't know that that was going on. So I'm sitting at the Rainbow getting ready to order food. My phone rings. It's Eddie Van Halen's assistant, Matt. He says, "Hey, I got your information from so and so. I want to put Eddie on the phone." I said, "Okay." He puts Eddie on the phone. He goes, "I want to heard good things about you. How would you like to come take care of my son, Wolfgang?" I said, "Okay." And I hang up the phone. I look across the table, and the other guy, Ian, he says, "Were you just on the phone with Eddie Van Halen?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I got to go to 5150 in about an hour." So I wrote down the address to 5150, and I left lunch at the Rambo to go investigate the possibilities of working for Van Halen because I just got a phone call from Eddie Van Halen on my day off, and he wanted me to come. So I get in a taxi and I go from the Rainbow to his house. And when I get to his house, it's his assistant Matt, Ed, and Valerie Bertinelli pulls up to drop Wolfgang off. You remember about a couple of years later, I'm from Indiana. And actually, that morning, I'm working on a 5150 relic guitar, just fucking
And
around before going to the Rainbow. Now I'm standing at 5150, touching the 5150.
wow.
So I had a little meeting with them. They just wanted to meet me to vibe me out. I was there about an hour. We talked. I get back in the cab. The first person I call was Tony Rambola, the guitar player from Godsmack. said, Tony, this is happening. I'm going to find somebody for you. What they wanted to do is for me to stay there in LA because they were starting rehearsals. Van Halen was starting rehearsals in like 3 days,
Yeah.
3 or 4 days. It may have been like a little, not as soon because I just had enough time to, Godsmack was playing another show. So I had to find a guitar tech for that next show,
Yeah.
shadow him, and then stay in LA while they traveled on. That's what I did is I went into rehearsal. I found somebody, it worked out for them. I stayed in LA and became Wolfgang Van Halen's tech for just a brief period. So that was that. It was just a crazy what's
Yeah.
going on in the world right now.
And was this the reunion with Sammy?
I'm sorry.
Was this the reunion with Sammy?
No, David Lee Roth.
Okay. Hey, was Craig Gass living with Eddie at the time?
I didn't
Comedian?
know. No, you know what? Craig and I have spoke about this. 100%. Craig was there. It's amazing that we didn't like
Yeah.
see each other because there was actually another person in the fold that was a photographer during the time who documented Ed's life from about 2004 to 2007. And then there was some bad blood and things that happened and weirdness. And,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was like Craig and I never met, but yes,
Yeah.
we definitely have spoke about all that.
Yeah. He's got a great story. And,
Oh, God, yeah.
yeah,
And his impressions
he did
are,
the show, and then now he and I are text buddies. So
yeah, send him my info.
I will. I will.
I did have it at one time, but I tell you, the last time I saw him was when I was with Death Punch, and because him and Chris Cale do stand up or
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
do stuff together, and yeah. So yeah,
So
that was my Van Halen story. I was with them a couple months, and then they got a guitar tech recently who uh, took over from me. I went on to do other things, and Tom Weber with them for umpteen
yeah.
a long time,
Tom was
which
with
is
him when I
awesome.
saw him. So the last time
Yep,
I saw him.
yep.
Um, man, I it's and I'm sure a lot of people like us, but to know you and to be friends with you and to now know where you came from. And I came from a very small town as well. Did you ever picture yourself doing this? Like I look back on what I do and I'm like, wow, I've been invited to like Christmas parties and stuff on the road where these people that I only had posters on the wall when I was a kid, and
Oh my God.
do you look at that and go like, wow, man, this is pretty cool. And did you ever think you'd be there?
I don't take anything for granted. It's weird to be in situations, and I'm shooting you straight.
Yeah.
It's weird to be in situations to know people that have been on your wall growing up. Because I can have pictures now of '86 at my parents' house, '85 of them, and I had posters and things, and then you're their house
Yeah.
dealing with this or dealing with that, or they don't feel good, or they just piss you off, or you piss them off, or and that could be anything, it's like, what what does why am I, but you love it
Yeah.
because it's what I was, as I've done things over the years, projects, tech, you're meant to do things, and you're in the moment going, I think what presses us on at times, and what I think about is like, you really got to know you're one of the best at doing what you do. Not just changing strings or putting a tube in an amp and biasing or learning a quad or I mean, you're somebody's friend.
Yeah.
You're somebody's. You try to be somebody's friend. Try to be somebody's therapist. You try to be there on different. Being a guitar tech is way more than just doing things. So you have to connect on a level that I believe that just where it means more when you get the gig done, when you get
Yeah.
a job done,
Yeah.
rather than just handing me a guitar and you go to the hotel. If you don't give a shit, then why? I don't, you're killing me here.
Yeah. 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 I describe what I do as like being a caddy for my guy. He comes
Yeah,
to
so
me like
100%.
as he'll
I've
come to
always
the
said
side of the stage and say, like, yeah,
a pilot. I say pilot, co-pilot. I'm always a co-pilot. Like you
yeah,
can go to sleep and I got the wheel. It's like I got the wheel. I got the wheel so much.
yeah,
Like even last year, I learned a bunch of tunes of the band I work for. Just it's like I always learn music. Just to be in case anything happens at any situation, or just for sound check reasons and whatnot. It's like you always got to go to those steps that you push yourself. Uh, I don't know. It's just a different drive. I think is what we have too.
yeah,
Because we steer our own ship to a certain degree. No, to every degree. It's all, any job. I mean, my God, it's like people talk about a job. It's like, yeah, it's cool. It's super cool. It's insanely cool. And it sucks. And it sucks. And it can bad suck at times.
yeah.
Bad suck. And you don't even know. Oh, you got the best job in the world. Mm, mm.
I mean, like, I yeah, sometimes,
But I love it.
yeah,
It's like
exactly.
that's what keeps me going.
I think you're like me, like, until it happened, you didn't realize, like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. I've never told myself. I always tell myself I'm a mediocre tech, but a great hang. But I mean,
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know,
Totally.
but I sometimes I pat myself on the back and go, you know what, I've done something right to end up where I've
But
been.
when you're like to shift you in thought for a second, when you got something I can't even, as we go for tour from tour to tour, year to year, there have been those instances of anything technical that
Yeah.
have happened in our worlds during a day, during a situation that we have to deal with. When you resolve it and things are firing on all cylinders, you go, because you got motherfuckers looking this way and you're going, none of you know what I just did to make that happen.
Yeah. And when it goes crazy, they're looking right at
And who are they looking at first?
you. Yeah.
Always. I didn't
Yeah.
switch quick enough. Where's my water? What did
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I've
okay.
had people, and also the crowd. Like I've had friends in the crowd text me if his pack goes out. Like that has nothing to do with me. That's an audio thing. If his in
Yeah.
and they're like, "What happened? What did you do?" I can't explain it to them. Like, "Oh, his in-ear pack went out."
But when you get into situations and you're really having a good show and if you get along with the people and the hang and all this
Yeah,
stuff, it's awesome. It's
it
awesome. It's
is,
no better
man. It
feeling.
is, and
All of a sudden you see it's went from lighters over the years to cell phones at
yeah,
concerts that when they're doing the light up thing. And it's just that's always a goosebump moment when you're behind the scenes with like two other three other people and the band on stage and you got this Casper's seat. I'm like, whoa, this is
right.
pretty cool.
I
And
mean,
I'm gonna go sit on the bus and eat some pizza and drink my Mountain Dew and go to the next town and do it all again and make a paycheck. That's
yeah.
cool.
I don't know how many pictures I have on my phone of Save a Prayer because
All
the
right.
phones come out every night. The
Yeah,
phones
yeah.
come out, and it's just to see. And every night I take the same picture because it looks so
And
cool.
I believe I have that picture because I have pictures of you from going through a show that I'm sure it's that moment of and you have your phone.
Yeah,
I think John's wife stands there with you. Doesn't she go this show?
yeah, yeah. She was at
That
those.
time.
You came to Vegas once, and then you came to New Orleans,
I think
I
the last
believe.
time I saw you was the Vegas show.
Yeah, yeah, and
Oh,
that was yeah,
yeah.
that was a good show. Um, man, you've worked for some pretty iconic. I mean, you worked for Slash, you worked for
I
Van
have.
Halen, you worked for Pink,
Yep.
Five Finger Death Punch,
Yep.
who you know pretty
Yep.
much is one of the biggest metal bands out there. Um, Most recently, Cheap Trick.
Yep.
You know,
Yep. Yep.
do you have a favorite? Like, do you have like a? Did you have a band like if it ended today, I'm fine because
Totally.
I've done
No,
that
I'm
gig.
good. 100%.
Really?
100%. I hate to say that with coming up because I got a new artist I'm working for. So maybe we need to edit this.
Yeah.
No, no, dude, I would have never imagined doing this as a career. So never, 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 never. So to go from all of the artists that I've worked for over the last 20 years and to talk about my career Of course, I don't like to talk about it, but my God, it has been a fruitful time.
Yeah.
Meaning, not the fruitful isn't just like I've landed those cool gigs and it's been amazing to do that
Yeah.
and to hook up with people like yourself and the guitar tech like Adam Day. And Adam's the reason I got to work for Slash because we
Yeah.
became friends. And that was early on. I was teching for Slash. I started with Slash in 2008 when he was doing Velvet Revolver. It's like, what? I've only been a guitar tech 3 fucking years, and I'm here with Scott Weiland and Duff and Matt Sorum and what's going on, but I'm there for a reason,
You know,
and
I
the
text
production
you.
manager back then, Tony Moon, who was the production manager then, I just did a tour with him. He's a tour manager for Heart,
Yeah.
and it's like it's all a big thing. But
Yeah.
it's like I don't take any of it. Yeah, it's like it's been amazing,
Yeah.
and it's to over the last year working with Rick Nielsen. Yeah, just prior to that, I was with Pink for about a year. I was working with Justin Derrico. We did a stadium tour, an arena tour, and whatnot. And he had fractals and computer and whatnot and stuff. And then I get with Rick Nielsen the last year, and he's got his stuff that he used at Budokan in '78. He's got that stuff, man. And it was just amazing.
Yeah.
That working with Rick is a guitar tech's wet dream because it is what it is. He is who he is, and he's an amazing individual, and that world's great. Um, but I've worked with go from working in Kempers and fractals and modelers and whatever to vintage gear. Yeah, definitely did it all over the
Yeah.
good time.
When I was gonna say, when something happens in my, I guess we can call these careers, right? What we do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it has
Yeah.
to be now, man.
Yeah, it has to be. We've done it for long enough. Whenever I text you, because you and I have had almost similar path, and it happened real quick for us.
Well,
We started with our first artist, and within 3 years, we were with, like you said, 3 years later, you're working for Slash.
oh yeah.
I
Like a
wasn't a
lot of doors, huge doors just kind of swung open
yeah,
and meeting the proper people and the people who gave a shit.
yeah.
Like just like you, it's like did you ever do any kind of van tour? And I'm not saying the Vans tour, but a van, any kind of
I did a
smaller.
I did one later on in my career for a guy. We did a van, and it was really cool doing it, but I started on a bus, and I've
Yeah,
always and up until recently,
live in the
I've
condo
been on a
life.
plane.
No,
But
yeah, it's like all of a sudden you're just kind of I was living that life right off the bat. I didn't have to truck around in a van or
yeah,
a rebuilt school bus or something like that, trying
yeah,
with a
yeah,
band figuring it out. And I know plenty of people in the industry that have, and that was also the economics of the time period or the bands that I looked up to just starting out that I got to work with those. It was with when I was a Five Finger Death Punch front of house guy who's still there, Bruce Ryder. He worked with Static X in their early days and still does. But to get to know him during the time period when I worked for him, he got to tell me all the stories of Static X in the studio, and in those time period, when I went to Ozfest in 2002 or three as an observer, when it was like it was Pantera, Godsmack. That's a prime example. I go to
yeah,
Indianapolis and go see Pantera, Godsmack, Ozzy, Brian Tishy. Brian Tishy,
yeah.
Mr. Brian, badass. Mr. Brian loves that guy.
Drummer.
Yeah, and Brian played drums for Ozzy. And Joe Holmes was the guitar player.
Yeah.
Maybe the bass player. Maybe it was Newstead was playing bass for
Newstead
Ozzy.
was there for a bit, but I think Inez was doing it too.
Maybe, yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was that tour, and Static X was there. Then to know Bruce was at front of house at that time, a bunch of years later, I get to say, "Oh my God, I was sitting on those seats over there," and it's like it's cool, But they were Static X starting out, and That's just an example. It's like I
I
never.
know, man. I always liked when I went to my hometown venue with,
Well, just do
and
like
I
old tours, like the
yeah,
Van Halen '84 tour. I saw. I'll tell you this real quick. Like it was a different economics, and I don't understand this at all. You could ask somebody. You ever have Rudy Laren on your podcast
no,
or anybody? Okay. It's like they used to. It was the Van Halen's 1984 tour, and they used to have room together, like two people in a room. Look at your face light up. Like jump Panama, and you're hot for teacher, and you're making crew members room together. What?
I know, right?
That sounds painful. And smoking in the rooms and shit. Put your britches on. I never had a room with anybody.
No,
You ever do
I've had
that?
the room with on a couple of tours, smaller tours, but for the
Put your
most part,
britches on.
isn't it
No,
funny
I
though
don't want to
now
ever
that
say that.
isn't it funny now that now, like you said, you're dealing with a new travel agent, or when you get an offer from a new band, one of the first things I say is, I have to have a single room on my day off. And like
That was
I feel
yeah.
so douchey saying that to someone like I need an aisle seat.
You don't
Single
even know. So check the. I don't. Well, just to bring you up to speed. Let me bring you up to speed. I don't work for Cheap Trick anymore. I got offered uh, um, a, a new gig
Mhm.
by a country artist named Co Wetzel. And you said you're familiar with Co.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I still have to dig into the catalog, and it's country music, man. I've never worked in country music before, and I've always wanted to. And the more I've learned and stuff about him and his guitar player, it's like it's going to be a cool thing. But it's just another career choice and a career path. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
It's
it's
cool,
like
man. It's he's one of the new country artists.
yeah.
He's got some country. It's country, but it's heavy. You know.
Oh yeah, when
It-
I toured, when I was with Five Finger Death Punch, we had a guy named Brantley Gilbert open up.
yeah, I
So
remember that cat.
yeah, yeah, totally. So it's that, and Brantley just did one of the halftime Super Bowl deals, the
Yeah,
Kid Rock world. But yeah, it's that country rock stuff. It's pretty cool.
yeah. Because he's cool. He's a Texas guy, not a Dallas guy, but he's from
And
Texas.
as we were talking about Texas, so that's where I'm going. I'll be in Texas for a week next week for rehearsals. So
Oh,
it
nice.
starts real
Do
soon.
you know what part? Dallas?
Grapevine, I believe.
Yeah, Grapevine.
Yeah, yeah,
Out
Dallas.
by the
Yeah, I'm
airport.
flying into Dallas, so I don't not sure where we'll go for there.
That's not far from
Big
Dallas.
question mark. I don't know yet.
Grapevine is not far from the airport.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, well, cool, man. I wish you luck on that gig.
Well, thank you.
Like I know you and I talked about it the other night, but it's cool. It's cool to go into something new. For me, it's scary, but once I get there, I'm like, oh, well, I'm here for a reason. I can do this gig. But every gig I go into, like when I got the U2 gig, I remember texting you going like, man, I don't belong here.
I just pooped my pants. That's
And
what you
then you
said.
and then you text me back going, but
I pooped.
you do
I
belong there.
pooped.
Because I'll let everyone know. You and I text a lot when we get a new gig, and it's that confident. It's like, man, let me know if this is the right thing I'm doing.
Hold me up, Bernie. I'll hold you up.
Yeah.
Hold me up, please. No, it is that. Yeah, it's like there was an opportunity that came up recently, and after 20, again, this is my 21st. I keep having to hold on to these numbers because that's the kind of person I am. I
Yeah.
remember dates and attribute things to those time periods. But as I enter into this, I could stay and do I could have stayed years ago one way and lived one way and just did something and lived out the rest of my life. Like, today's my birthday. I'm 57. It's like, I could definitely could have wrote out the rest of my life one way. Instead, I chose a different path,
Yeah.
chose it, and now I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
What do I have to believe in? I got to believe in me.
Yeah.
And then just the glowing thing that people believe in me or believe in the situation of taking a
Yeah.
shot. Am I going to let anybody down? Fuck no. Am I going to let
Yeah.
myself down? Fuck no.
Obviously, they believe in you, so you have to believe in you too.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's what I
Absolutely.
get. I have to make myself think that way a lot because I go up until the first gig starts with a new artist. I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. and
Yeah, yeah.
have no clue, you know.
Well, to talk about this, and I don't know, we can definitely. I don't know how. I don't even know how long I've been on here. But to talk about what I did, I sent you pictures,
Yeah,
the most
yeah,
recent pictures. That's something that I don't know. I do things at times, and this is how I get projects done. I feel compelled to finish them.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So the year project may stay the year project, but I may be compelled to wrap it up in a day or so or something like
yeah,
that. But my decision to go with a new artist, this this venture recently, my big work box that has years of tools and stands as tall as me and blah 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 is on in the middle of a truck in Tennessee. And I wouldn't see it until after I'm supposed to start with my new job. Also in that big work box is a lot of the other band's stuff.
yeah,
My fly tech box. I have nothing.
yeah.
But the offer was, you need to make good choices, as my wife always says.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I follow what my wife says. So what I did is I got a 1560 Pelican, and I saw that there's a company in Australia and there's one in Canada that make these guitar tech inserts, and they're just
Yeah.
little folding things that go down inside the thing. And I was like, I'm going to make that, and I did. And it took about 5 days, and I just looked at pictures and borrowed ideas and whatnot. But like I wanted the gig so bad, and I wanted everything to be so comfortable in my mind that it's Wednesday. I don't have to fly till Sunday. I've got an insanely functional guitar thing. It's completely filled at 35 pounds, mind you. A Pelican power, all this crazy things, 35 pounds. It has everything I need in it. I've been Ugh. Anyway, I made something that I'm going to use for at least the festivals for my
Yeah.
fly tech
Yeah.
rig as my workstation to work on guitars, tune, listen, solder, lean, put food on, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It was something that I had nothing. I reached out to a case company, got radio silence. This is interesting being in these situations because the case companies and stuff like this. And instead, I reached out to various people and just got radio silence back. And when we've done this long, you would hope people would return at
Oh
least
yeah,
an
yeah,
email or a
yeah.
phone call. So I said, "Fuck all y'all," and I bought the thing and I went out, and got some wood at the local. I patronized it here in Poplarville, went to Weeks Lumber and got a 3/8 plywood, and the guy cut it in half because I couldn't get it in the back of my expedition. You know what I mean? It's like, and I came home and put together this little project, and I'm walking into it proud of that, comfortable, and ready for the next adventure. And that sounds really weird, but it's true because it's like, it's really like, I don't know what to expect. I haven't never met any of the people, on the
Yeah.
next phase of my life, and it all seems cool. And I've got
Well,
there's enough confidence floating around that hopefully it'll work. you know.
you know what, man? I think a guy like you going into a camp like that, um, and I can say this pretty much with confidence. You're gonna walk in there and show them, a thing or two
No, I didn't know what you were getting to say.
of how this gig, of how
Like, you stop there. I don't want to hear that shit.
a real tech,
But
like
thank you.
a seasoned tech would approach a gig like this.
And
Because I'm
that,
familiar with the band and I'm familiar with the organization, so
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you're gonna, it's a good feeling, man. It's a good feeling, like you said, to be asked. I remember
Oh,
I talked to Jake Berry, who's this huge, big time, Jake Berry,
oh, totally.
and he told me, he's like, when I did the Stones and this and that, and then he's like, Bernie, if you ever get asked to do the Stones and you get the gig, it's unlike anything you've ever done. The Stones. He's zeroed in on that band. He goes, but if you don't get the gig, it's a privilege just to be asked. I was like, that's what people say when they don't get the gig, dude.
Yeah, right. It's like, wait a minute. Okay.
But no. So I mean, it is. I think it's a privilege just to be considered for a gig. You know.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like anything. It's like, there's been things over the years, things that don't work out, or you get picked over by, for an artist by somebody else, or something
Yeah.
that happened. You go, well, why wasn't I good enough for that? Or you see other people in other situations going, why do you, like, I just dealt with some shit recently, and I was like, you make how much with that artist? And it's not the main artist, and you make how much with that artist, and it's not the main fucking artist? What have I done wrong for 21 fucking years? I'm doing something insane. I'm not doing
Yeah.
something right at all. You make
Yeah.
how? Wait a minute. How
And
much did you make?
we'll talk about that when this goes off. When I stop recording.
Oh,
Is that-
you said, yeah, you and I have never spoken about that kind of stuff. It
yeah.
was
But no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
like,
Um,
what the fuck?
well, man, I want to thank you for your time.
Did you hit
We've tried this
record?
before and I screwed it up.
I
I'm
see
sorry.
record flashing up there. This is like the second time that I've used
It's
Zoom.
recording. It's recording. I'm going to make sure
It's
that.
funny because I'll tell you a story about. I hope I did a Zoom meeting once,
Uh-huh.
and it was a meeting about something really important. And I don't know if I assume they recorded it, but I want that Zoom meeting because it makes them look so bad. And I bet you they record. You know what I mean? I bet you they were recording the whole time the meeting was going on.
Yeah.
And I never, like, it's something that's went way in the past and it's cool. But I was like, I wonder if they've got a copy of that Zoom meeting. And they did hit record, them
Yeah.
motherfuckers. Anyway,
Oh, oh, brother, you and I we could talk for hours about all this, but I just want to thank you for doing this again. And it took us
yeah,
a
yeah,
while
no
to do
worries,
it,
dude.
and I appreciate it. I've always thought a lot of you, man, and I've always appreciated the fact that you're always there. I'm serious. You're always there when I go into something and I text you about it, and I always appreciate you texting me when we're both overseas because you
Yeah,
keep me company.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I was like, you'll hear from me soon about a lot of stuff, I'm
yeah,
sure.
and you always
I'm,
text at the right time. You
I'm in
know,
Texas. What are you doing? What are you
yeah.
doing now? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
And if it wasn't for you, I would have never met Nikki Six. Okay, 'cause you turned me on to a last minute gig, and I got to go do a one off with those cats. And
Oh, yeah, the 6 a.m. stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he was the
yeah.
nicest
DJ
guy.
Ashba.
So anyway,
Absolutely. I've met him, believe it or not, when I was with Death Punch. They opened 6 a.m. open. I got to be really good friends with DJ Ashba. And I only met Nikki at the meet and greet at the very last show because my wife was there and she wanted a picture. So I
yeah,
did a whole tour with him and never even said hello to him. I
yeah,
do that with a lot of artists. Like
yeah.
I never met Dave Mustaine over the years, but man, how many tours have you done with them? It's like I don't intertwine with artists sometimes just because if I'm not working for them and they do their own shtick,
Yeah.
like,
Well, you're not
I say
missing
shtick,
anything not
but it's
meeting
not shtick,
Dave,
but it's
okay?
everybody's got their own thing. You know what I mean? It's like do my own thing.
Well, brother, you know this podcast. It's called Is Breakfast Included? And the next time we have breakfast, what are you gonna have?
Wow, dude. My kick recently has been a sausage and cheese. What is it? The McMuffin from McDonald's, just because it's McClose.
Right.
No, I don't know. Yeah. I usually eat extra toasty Cheez-Its in the morning. I get a couple of handfuls of them and go figure out what the day is holding. And then I'll eat lunch later or something like that.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
I don't know. Mountain Dew, that's usually in there.
Yeah,
What do you have for breakfast? Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain.
I remember you were very bacon in Mountain Dew every morning.
I still do, and after about my first kidney stone was in '99, and I probably had about 7 or 8 kidney stones since then, and
Mm.
I'm not stopping.
Well,
I love that shit. It'll tickle
brother,
your innards.
yeah. Um, thanks so much, dude. It was great. It was great talking to you.
All right. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Later.
All right. Bye.
Right on. Chet Haun. What an amazing story, right? You go from just being a guy in Muncie, Indiana, to getting interested in the internet, meeting all these cats, and then becoming a guitar tech to the stars. He's worked with a lot of guys. If you want to find out or keep up with what Chet is doing, you can follow him on Instagram at Haun, Haun, Haun Custom Guitars on Instagram. While you're online, check out isbreakfast.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts, and then slide on over to YouTube, man. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button. You can see this interview, watch it, plus a lot more interviews. All right, guys. I want to thank Chet for taking the time. You can see him this year with Co Wetzel. I'm done. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.